Welcome back to another episode of the Partly Cloudy podcast, and you guessed it, we have
Chief Meteorologist Jenna Petracci. So excited to be back on the pod for the first time in a couple months.
Yes, a special guest, my friend. I am super excited. My name's Avery. If in case you missed it or missed me or don't know, all of those kinds of things. But those are our faces once again, and welcome back to the Partly Cloudy podcast. And for those of you who follow Jenna on Facebook, she has been literally all over the world in the past month. So
it feels like it. I mean, it's funny because it was just an 8-day trip, but yeah. I am all about the cruises because these cruises take you to so many different places, and that is my favorite thing to do. I am trying to explore as much of the world as possible, and this really let me see several different islands. Mm-hmm. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Two of my favorite things of all time are the weather and travel. A lot of our viewers know that about me, and if you haven't already followed me on Facebook and saw those photos from the trip, then you're getting to see them in this episode. So I'm so excited to tell you guys a little bit about the Caribbean cruise, show you those photos, and then we're kind of going to the tables are going to turn. We're going to flip the page here and kind of end things on a bit of a sadder note, unfortunately, because when I was on these trips to the islands, a big topic that kept coming up was the hurricanes back in 2017. It was a devastating hurricane season, not just for the Caribbean, but also for the United States. We were all impacted by it, and there's a lot to talk about when it comes to the 2017 hurricane season, and this photo really sparked that idea for me. I took this in Saint Croix, which is the first island we went to. It was day 3 on the cruise, and I saw this, and not only is it beautiful, you've got the tree there with the I Love Saint Croix sign, but you can also see the hurricane repairs sign with FEMA. It says recovery ahead, and this was specifically in the town of Frederiksted in Saint Croix. And between seeing this sign and talking to some of the locals about the devastation from the hurricanes, I figured this would be a pretty good podcast topic today. Saint Croix, like I mentioned, was the first stop, so here's a little photo collage from that. We did a rainforest hike excursion. It was 3 miles, a little strenuous, but not too bad, and it was so worth it because when we got to the top, we had beautiful views of the cruise ship and the ocean. You can see that photo there in the center. Throughout the hike, we also saw a lot of wildlife. We actually got to try some plants, got to eat a little something. Wasn't too good. I couldn't tell you what it was called. It was not poisonous, though. There were some poisonous plants on that trail that we were advised not to touch. But I did get to try a little treat. There were some bananas. There was a papaya tree.
Nice.
There were wild chickens running around all over the beach. That was really cool. We had some local food. I also included a sign that shows all the sea turtles that are in St. Croix. Unfortunately, I did not get to see any of those. We didn't do snorkeling or anything like that because with St. Croix, we were just really focused on the rainforest hike, which was well worth it. But after that, we got to just explore the beaches, got to try out a local restaurant. And that's when the hurricane season came up as well, because when we were at that restaurant, we actually found out that that building had been destroyed back during Irma, and the restaurants knew. It was started after the hurricanes, after they started to rebuild. So definitely a big topic of conversation there at Saint Croix. And the island of Saint Maarten was also impacted by that hurricane season. Saint Maarten was our day 4 stop. It's very close by to Saint Croix. Both of these are very tiny islands, but Saint Maarten is even smaller. We were in Philipsburg specifically, which is where the airport is. That is the Princess Juliana International Airport. A lot of you may have heard of this activity before. It's very, very popular. It's where you get to go out on Maho Beach and the planes fly right over your head. You can see it there in that one photo of me. And that photo doesn't even do it justice, Avery. That plane, that's a decent distance from above me, but you'll see in a moment. I'm going to just show you how low some of these planes get. But not only did we get to see the planes, but we got to explore the town there as well. And they have a lot of Dutch influence.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you can see the spelling. You may think I have a typo here, but I don't. It's actually spelled Sint Maarten with the
Wow.
double A's. That's on the Dutch side, at least. And then the island's actually split into two, and there's a French side.
Okay.
And it's funny because I believe the island is literally only 9 square miles. So
Wow.
to have two different sides, it was something that small is crazy. But the other side is spelled Saint Maarten, how we would spell it, you know, the regular spelling of Saint, and then Maartin.
Right.
But we didn't go to that side, so that's why I have it spelled this way, the Dutch way. But you can see a lot of the colorful buildings there, some influence from the Netherlands. There's also a sign that says, I love St. Maarten, and it's showing some blocks of cheese. So we got
Did you get a block of cheese?
I wanted to, but I already overpacked so much for this trip. I had already bought so many souvenirs. I was like, all right, I gotta... That's
You're
where
like,
I draw the line.
Let me withhold on the cheese block.
Let me withhold on the cheese. It was so good. We
I
did get
couldn't
some
imagine.
samples, but I did not come home with any cheese, unfortunately.
Darn.
But I did come home with these very cool photos and videos. So now I'm going to show you one of the videos from Maho Beach doing the plane spotting, and this was by far the coolest one. I'm glad I caught this one on video. We saw about 30 planes fly over our head, Avery. Even
Wow.
one of them was a helicopter. But out of those 30, this one was the best. So there it goes.
Oh my gosh.
So crazy.
Yeah. And when you had shown that video, I get so scared for those people right there because they are so close.
Right.
It feels like they could touch the plane.
Yeah, it's a little dangerous. You know, we had to sign some waivers before doing this excursion. I stayed in the water the whole time. I mean, I'm a big beach person. I love the ocean. So
Yeah.
I wanted to be in the beautiful water, first of all. But I also just didn't want to risk going
Right.
up on that sand because when the planes take off, they also can jet blast you.
Right.
Leaving and the sand can blow in your face. So I didn't want any parts of that. So I watched it and recorded from the ocean. Now, our next day, this would be day 5, we went to Puerto Rico. This was a shorter day, unfortunately. At this point, you know, the cruise ship is all the way down in the Caribbean. We got to start
Right.
trekking back north. So in Puerto Rico, we only spent about a half day. But we did do one fun excursion. We did a dune buggy ride.
Ooh.
I can't remember the exact name of the town, but it was to the southwest of San Juan by about an hour. So we drove a good bit away from where we docked. And you can see a big giant lizard there in
my gosh.
the top middle photo. So that was
So
really
was that
cool.
an iguana or just a lizard?
Or yeah, I guess technically an iguana
Yeah.
would be the correct word. But the photo next to the iguana, there were some horses as well.
Aw.
So when we were doing our dune buggy ride, we were riding through the rainforest and there were some horses around. Lots of palm trees, of course. We didn't get to go to the beach at all in San Juan since it was a shorter day, but I did take a picture of the beach from when we were leaving, and you can see all those beautiful, colorful buildings.
Yeah,
So
so
definitely
pretty.
looks like somewhere I'd like to go back to and spend a little bit more time. And then our final day, we had one more day out to sea. Then we went to the Bahamas on the final day, Friday of the week, and I hate to say it, I really do, but this one was my favorite.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't experience really any culture here. It was great being in Saint Croix and Saint Maarten in Puerto Rico, getting to meet all of the locals and
Right.
try the local food and all that. This one was kind of your more basic resort, very Americanized experience. But after an exhausting week of hiking and walking 8 miles a day, it was so nice to just sit and relax.
And look at the pretty water.
Yes, the water here, I mean, I just kept picking it up in my hands because I'm like, it's clear. It's literally crystal clear. I had a little jar with me as well for our anniversary to collect some sand and
Aw.
shells. And before I put the shells and sand in there, I just scooped it with water. And I'm like, it looks like you could drink it.
Right.
I mean, wow. And I've been to the Bahamas before. I went last year. So it was fresh on my mind, but that just goes to show how phenomenal it is there. I mean,
Yeah.
even after going once, seeing it again, it's still a wow moment.
Yeah.
So
pretty.
yeah, so highly recommend the Bahamas to anyone watching this, but I also recommend all of these places. If you can find a cruise like the one I did and get to go to so many different islands in 1 week. I highly recommend it. But like we mentioned at the top of this podcast, we do have a lot to talk about when it comes to the 2017 hurricane that impacted the Caribbean. So we're going to toss it to break, and when we come back, we're going to get started with that.
Welcome back, and I think it's time to get into the time travel machine.
Yeah, which it's a little scary to say this was almost 10 years ago. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I feel like it was about 5 years ago. I don't know if you feel the same because you're in a completely different age range than me, which we'll get to in just a moment. But to me, it feels like it was not that long ago at all. So going back to 2017, I was a freshman in college. That is honestly pretty crazy because, you know, freshman in college, I did 4 years of college, and now I've already been here 5 years. So this was quite some time ago, you know. In this photo, I was 18 years old. I was so excited for my very first meteorology class. I was the type that decided on my major right away. I picked my school specifically for meteorology. So one of the benefits of that was the fact that, you know, day one, first day of college, I was in intro to meteorology right off the bat.
Right.
I didn't do many, I didn't take just like English class or all these random classes. I really got started right away. But Avery, were you studying meteorology in college at this point?
I was not. I knew that I wanted to do weather because I've wanted to do weather since the 3rd grade. And I did my own studying, like on YouTube, and watched the Weather Channel and all those kinds of things. But I was in the 8th grade in 2017. In the fall of 2017, I was in 8th grade in middle school. That's a picture of me and my mom. I was 13, and that picture there, I was at an all-state choir concert trip in, I think, Greenville, somewhere near Clemson, at that time. In 2017, I was an 8th grader, which is kind of crazy to say. Like Jenna says, that does feel like a decade ago to me.
Yeah.
Like, that feels insane. But then I do think about that because I'm coming up now of being 4 years out of high school, and that doesn't feel like that long ago to me.
Yeah, well, your college years really flew by, I'd imagine, since you graduated early, especially.
Yeah,
college
I graduated
just always flies by, too.
College in 3 years, so.
Yeah. So she's a 2022 high school grad, to put it into perspective here. I mean, 2022 to me sounds like it was 2 years ago. It was not, it was 4, but all that to say, we both had very different experiences in 2017.
Yeah.
It was awesome for me because instead of just doing the planned coursework, my teacher, my meteorology professor, actually switched gears, and he said, we are going to focus all on the active tropical hurricane season right now, because there's nothing better when it comes to learning meteorology than actually using real-time weather.
Yep.
There's only so much you can learn when you're just studying things that happened in the past, but to actually see it firsthand really puts it into perspective. So when people think of active hurricane seasons, 2005 comes to mind, and then the next one would really be 2017.
Yeah.
They kind of go hand in hand. 2005 was when we had Hurricane Katrina, and then 2017 is when we had Harvey, Irma, and Maria. Now, Harvey happened in late August, and that was right when my college classes began. And that one hit really close to home for me because it hit Houston. Devastating flooding. That's where my family was living at the time. Houston was where I just moved from. My parents had just moved into a brand new home. So it was a very scary situation. And then right after Harvey, H name, then you have Irma.
Yeah.
So Irma happened in early September, and then a couple storms later, we had Maria. But Avery, you said you were studying meteorology independently at this time.
From YouTube, the Weather Channel, and I would watch all of the weird shows on the Weather Channel. Like the Weather Channel, like I don't know how it is really anymore, because we have like streaming services and stuff now, but this was back in the day before Netflix was really a big thing and all of the streaming services were really a big thing. So we had cable TV, and they would have like the weird shows on the Weather Channel. Like it would be like the weird weather events and all of those kinds of things. So I would just like turn on the Weather Channel because they had a bunch of different shows other than just the forecasts. And I had learned through one of those shows that hurricanes form with a tropical wave off the coast of Western Africa. I had just learned that like the week before Hurricane Irma formed. And I remember pulling up the radar app on my phone and seeing that there was some activity on the western coast of Africa. And I told literally every single one of my teachers, not just my science teacher. I told my parents, I told all my friends, and I was like, this is going to be a hurricane. And they all were looking at me like, Avery, what are you talking about? But I was like, no, this is going to be a hurricane. Like, this is going to be legit. And that those storms formed into Category 5 Hurricane Irma.
Yep.
And I was like, yeah.
Future meteorologist. I mean, she knew it from back then in 8th grade.
I just had an instinct.
Yep. Which is amazing. I love to hear stories like that. And that's a very common thing where kids get interested in meteorology at a very young age.
Yeah.
And nowadays with YouTube, TikTok, there's so many ways you can actually study.
I know. And then especially after COVID, like that was one of the best things in my college classes was after COVID. Not that I didn't go to like office hours and stuff with my teachers, but if I didn't understand something, I would try to look up a course lecture from a different college or university that was posted to YouTube online during the COVID years to refresh my brain and help me study that way.
Yeah.
So like, especially now after COVID, like these kids can go and not even take college classes because they're not doing the assignments and the, coursework of it, but they can hear college lectures at their fingertips for free on YouTube.
It's amazing.
It's great.
It really gives you a nice head start because meteorology is intense. There is a lot to it. So if you're listening to this podcast right now and you happen to be a high school student planning on studying meteorology, I recommend you do kind of get that head start and teach yourself as much as you can because you'll need it. And speaking of meteorology, we are going to do that full deep dive into Irma and Maria when we return. Stay with us.
Welcome back, and we are about to do a deep dive of Hurricane Irma and Maria, and these were some pretty intense hurricanes.
Yeah, so this one formed back on August 30th, like Avery was talking about. It was a wave off the coast of Africa, had a pretty long lifespan, lasted all the way through September 13th. This had rapid intensification as well. So it became a Category 5. It was a Category 5 for 37 hours until September 7th. It was the strongest storm on record to impact the Leeward Islands, and it made landfalls in several different spots. It wasn't just one landfall. Unfortunately, it just slammed the Caribbean. Barbuda first, Saint Maarten second, Virgin Gorda, which is in the British Virgin Islands, Cuba, and then Florida twice. It hit Cudjoe Key, and then it hit Marco Island in Florida. So this was just absolute devastation. Around 64 to 90 billion worth of damage, 134 fatalities with this storm, Avery.
Yeah. And with those 134 fatalities, this was a really, really big thing at the time. South Florida, they had 12 elderly individuals pass away in one of the nursing homes because the nursing home lost power and they all died of hypothermia or the overheating. The news reports that I looked at and everything, they all said that when the paramedics arrived, their body temperatures were well over 108 degrees. And it became like a really, really big deal. There was a lot of legal issues with that as well. But one of the best things I think to come about it is the former Florida governor at the time really took that and mandated that every nursing home have a running generator and can sustain a sustainable generator that will run their air conditioning and run all of the utilities that they need for up to 4 days after a power outage. And then they would have to be responsible to figure out what happened after 4 days, but that it would be their responsibility. So it was something that, unfortunately 12 people ages 57 to 99 lost their lives. But, that did become a law, and that will not happen again.
Mm-hmm. Which is so, so important, and something I feel like a lot of people don't think about when it comes to hurricanes. A lot of times they're focused just on the structural damage with the winds, the storm surge, and then you're thinking about power outages, but not the fact that it's hot in these places that get hit. I also want to show you the radar from the National Hurricane Center. It just missed Puerto Rico. So, like I talked about, Irma made landfall in several different islands, including Florida twice. But luckily, Puerto Rico got spared from the worst of it. However, they still had around 80,000 people without power from Irma, and you can see there it missed it, but the inner eye wall was still very close to San Juan. There's some of the damage from Saint Maarten. The Princess Juliana International Airport that I was showing you the videos that I just took suffered severe structural damage with jet bridges snapping and massive chunks of debris strewn across the runway. Took about 2 months for Saint Maarten to get most of their power back.
Wow.
Cayo Romano in Cuba was the landfall spot on September 8th. There's some of the photos of the damage from Puerto Rico, which once again didn't even have a direct hit, but still 80,000 people without power for a couple months just from Irma alone. And then, of course, they didn't even know what was about to come next.
Yeah.
Some more facts about the storm. It was the first Cat 5 landfall since 1924 for Cuba. And this is a little eerie. When it made landfall in Marco Island, Florida, that was the exact same landfall spot and intensity of Wilma back in 2005.
Wow.
So I was talking about how this season really resembled 2005 in a lot of ways, and that's just one example of that.
And it was a La Nina year. 2017, 2005, those were all La Nina years, and why we see that much tropical
and that's why we emphasize El Nino and La Nina oscillations, because it really does play a factor.
Right.
And just a couple weeks after Irma, we had Maria, so we're going to toss it to break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about Hurricane Maria. Welcome back. This is the track of Hurricane Maria. This happened on September 16th through October 10th. Another long-lasting storm, lowest pressure 908 millibars. Started off as a tropical wave off the coast of Africa, just like with Irma. Extreme rapid intensification here. In fact, it was the most extreme since Wilma. It went from a Cat 1 to a Cat 5 within 18 hours. It made landfall as a Cat 5 in Dominica with 165 mile per hour winds, 9-foot storm surge, and 2 feet of rain. Briefly weakened to a Cat 4, but then went right back to a Cat 5. On September 19th, it reached peak intensity, 908 millibars once again, with 170 mile per hour winds. Once again, Puerto Rico was still suffering from Irma that just scooted right by. It didn't quite make landfall, but 80,000 people were without power 2 weeks prior. And they were already on thin ice even before Irma because of the aging infrastructure.
Yeah.
And then, of course, these two storms back-to-back just made it worse. 6:15 a.m. that day, Maria made landfall in Yabucoa, Puerto Rico. 3.2 million people without power, water off for over half the population, flash flooding for days, dams were damaged. 2 weeks after landfall, 11% had power, only 11%, and 50% had their water back. This ended up being the deadliest U.S. landfall in the 21st century, third in the nation's history. And the recovery is still ongoing. So this is a very eerie image. You can see the eye headed straight for the southeastern coast of Puerto Rico. to the south of San Juan there. And we'll walk you through some of those images now of the devastation. You already saw the devastation from the photos from Irma, and then, of course, these are just remarkable. Now, these photos I really wanted to point out. These actually came from the family of one of our producers here, Talia Rodriguez. Her family just sent those to her for this podcast. They had no power for 3 months. So think about our power we lost with Hurricane Helene. A lot of us lost it for about a week, maybe up to 2 weeks. At the most, I'd say a month. Her family didn't have it for 3 months. And she told me that wasn't even bad because a lot of the country did unfortunately lose power for up to 11 months. And like I mentioned, the recovery is still even ongoing. These photos show the street signs down, the gas stations destroyed, trees in the road, similar images to what we saw here with Hurricane Helene. But of course, we were able to recover a lot faster. And then here's also an image from Saint Croix. It didn't specifically make landfall right in Saint Croix, but it might as well have. Saint Croix is such a tiny island, and it scooted right past it, so there was the devastation there as well. So it was just a remarkably sad hurricane season. Especially hearing it firsthand from Talia, her sharing the experiences of her family. It's just, can't even comprehend it. I mean, we thought what we went through with Helene was about as bad as it could get, but the people down here in the islands, I mean, you know, they're just hoping and praying every single year that they don't have to deal with this again.
And then just thinking about over 3,000 people that lost their lives and all the family members of those people, that it's just so devastating.
Yeah, it's heavy. You know, I actually met someone on the Bahamas trip, which, like I was talking about, an amazing time, so happy, so fun. But one of our servers, I was asking her if she was from there, and she actually said she was from Jamaica. And she had moved to the Bahamas right before Melissa last year, thank goodness, but that didn't mean her family left. And, you know, I asked her, was your family okay? And that's a question I ask a lot of people here in the CSRA when we're talking about Helene, like, oh, was your house okay? And honestly, most times I hear, oh, yes, we were fine. With this, she said no. They weren't okay. And it gave me chills. They survived, at least that's what it made it sound like, what she was saying. But no, they weren't okay overall. I mean, everything they knew was destroyed.
Their entire world.
So, man, it's just so sad. The fact that you have these beautiful islands. And they rely on tourism so much. That also means when hurricanes are coming, you can't just easily leave. Like, we could just get in a car here. You know, some people, if they wanted to avoid Helene, could just drive, you know, 6-7 hours north. So, yeah, definitely very, very sad and scary what they have to deal with down there. But I'm glad they have rebuilt. I mean, it's crazy. Visiting those islands just not even 10 years later, you wouldn't know that a Cat 5 devastated them. It looked beautiful there. So.
And it's definitely taken a lot of time, and even, you know, portions of New Orleans are still not the same, and it's been 20 years since Katrina. So so we will leave you again with this slide, the photo taken in Saint Croix. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I hope you learned a little bit about Irma and Maria leading up to this hurricane season, which is starting very shortly on June 1st. And I know coming up in the next few weeks, meteorologist Avery Gray and Miller Hyatt will be back to discuss what we can expect from hurricane season this year and giving you guys some safety tips. And I know it's a sensitive topic after what we went through with Helene, but we've got you covered here with the Live Viper 6 weather team. So we will all stay safe and we'll get through it. As we always do. And things are looking promising. An El Nino season, less active season. Hope is ahead, and we're here regardless. And enjoy these warm temperatures, and go ahead and start making your way to the beach, making your way to the pool, and have fun and stay safe while you're at it.
Yes, no hurricanes to worry about just yet. All right.
We'll see you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.